Too crazy. He's got a blue pill, you got the little white one, you got to dice up. You guys are good stuff. You know, it's funny, back in, how old are you, my friend? He's like, give me another beer. How old are you?
39.
Get out, really? You look a little younger. You do, amazingly, with all the coke you're doing these days. But that was funny, when I was growing up, you know, my friends I hung out with, you know, we were in public school, and all my friends, you know, we listened to like metal music and all that stuff back in the early 80s. So I played guitar, I was in a band, had the hair thing going, that whole 9 yards. So my mother was always concerned about high school, getting into a good college and all that good stuff there. So I'll never forget, she wanted to send me to a place called CBA, Christian Brothers Academy. Anybody familiar with it? Okay. It's run by a bunch of, they call them brothers, they're like priests, but they drink a lot more wine. And they can kick your ass too, by the way. And so I had to go take this special test to get in. So one summer I had to go through this whole stupid course to get my math skills back up. And every night I'm sitting there 2 nights, 3 nights a week with a math teacher, going through this whole thing in the summer, which sucked. So all of a sudden, my mother, or my wife, it sounds like the same thing. You gotta get as many words in edgewise. And my mother goes to me, she goes, you're gonna go take the test, you're gonna go there because I don't want you going to public school with your friends and end up, you know, smoking pot and all that other crazy stuff and hanging out with guys like this. So, next thing you know, I go to high school. I get in, I take the test, I get into high school, so now I'm in high school. And this high school is a little bit different because Carl will tell you, he's from the area. Most of the kids I went there for were from like Colts Neck, Homedale, the bigger, richer areas than where I was from, and they had better drugs than my friends at home. So essentially what happened was I ended up hanging out and partying with people I just met as opposed to my friends in high school. So at one point, me and my buddies in high school, we were going to a Deep Purple concert. You guys remember Deep Purple? Yeah, this guy, you know, he's a rocker. That guy there, he did a lot of acid, I'm sure, back in the days, right? So anyway, we were going to the thing. Now my friends at home were like, well, dude, you got to get the pot for this because your new friends got better pot. So one day, I come home a couple of days before the show. My mother walks me upstairs to my room, and on my bed is a bag of marijuana. She goes, I found this. She goes, what is this? I said, it's an eighth of marijuana. And she goes, well, how do you know what an eighth of marijuana is? I said, well, Mom, if anybody's going to come down on me on this one, and I don't blame anybody, I got to blame you. She goes, me? She goes, I never did drugs. I didn't party or anything like you. So I said, well, I got to blame you because, to be honest with you, if you didn't set me up with that tutor over the summer, I wouldn't have known the difference between an eighth, a quarter, an ounce. Quite frankly, I might got ripped off. All right, you guys ready? We got a special headliner for you tonight, a special guest headliner. This headliner, you might know him, you may not. Some of the guys from France, I don't know if you've seen him over there before, but he is an incredible voiceover guy. I'm going to give you guys a couple hints. He was just recently on Celebrity Apprentice. He's been on Howard Stern a number of times. Please put your hands together for Mr. Gilbert Gottfried!
This is. To think that one day I'd be playing in a makeshift dining room in New Jersey. This is why I went into the business. I thought one day I was watching TV and movies and thinking, one day, I don't know, if I keep my fingers crossed, I'll be working in a thrown-together dining room in a hotel in New Jersey. You know, I think it was when Bob Hope was on his deathbed. He said, oh, I've won 1 million awards, I've done movies, TV, and Broadway, but I've never been in a make-believe dining room in a hotel in New Jersey. And where half the audience can't speak English. Because, you know, it's just, see, I like when I feel like it's more of a challenge when you're working an audience that can't speak English, because, I don't know, working in a theater where people days. Because I had no luck with those people, but that's a whole other story. Okay. Two horses are at a racetrack, and one horse is talking to the other, and the horse goes, "Oh my God, a few months ago I was about to race, and every muscle in my body was hurting, and I couldn't move. I was in such pain. And then next thing I know, I feel a prick in the ass, and I'm zooming around the racetrack like a locomotive." Then the other horse says, "Oh, well, 2 days ago, I was exhausted, and I didn't think I could even walk. And next thing I know, I feel a prick in the ass, and I'm going around the track like a spaceship." And then this dog walks by, and the dog goes, "Don't you realize what just happened to you? The prick in the ass was a needle with steroids in it. That's why you ran so fast." And so one horse looks at the other and goes, "Hey, get a load of that, a talking dog." Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. It's an honor. Thank you. All right. A little boy is walking down the hallway. He looks in his parents' bedroom, catches his parents fucking. He screams. The father looks over and starts laughing. The next night, the father's walking down the hall. He checks in his son's room. The son is fucking the grandmother. The guy screams. The little boy goes, "Ha! Not so funny when it's your mother." Which is a very odd joke, because it would either mean that the grandmother was willingly fucking her grandson, or that she was senile. But that gets too intellectual. A guy gets a call. They say your grandfather just died. So he goes, he rushes back home. He's standing next to his grandmother at the funeral. He turns to his grandmother. He goes, How did Grandpa die? And she goes, "He died during sex." And he goes, "During sex? You're 90. Grandpa was 95. Sex is dangerous." And the grandmother goes, "Not the way we did it. We timed it according to the church bells. Ding, he slid in. Dong, he slid out. Ding, he slid in. Dong, he slid out." And the grandson goes, "Well, that certainly seems safe." And the grandmother goes, "It sure was. And he'd still be alive today if it wasn't for that fucking ice cream truck." A woman goes to a drugstore. She's talking to the pharmacist. She says, "I'd like to buy some arsenic." And the pharmacist goes, "Arsenic? What are you going to use that for?" She goes, "I'm going to poison my husband." And he goes, "I can't sell you arsenic to poison your husband with." And then she reaches into a purse and takes out a photo of her husband fucking the pharmacist's wife. He looks at the photo and goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you had a prescription." A guy's in a car. He picks up a girl. They start making out in the car, really hot and heavy. And then the girl getting into it, and he reaches his hand under her skirt, and he finds a dick and balls. And he turns to her and goes, "Hey, as soon as you're through, you and me gotta talk." A guy has the words "I love you" tattooed to his dick. He goes home to his wife. His wife says, "Stop trying to put words in my mouth." A little boy asks his mother, he goes, "Where do babies come from?" She goes, "Babies come from a stork." And he goes, "Oh, who fucks the stork?" An old woman bank teller is sitting behind her desk at the bank. A man walks into the bank. And the old woman bank teller looks up from her desk. She goes, "May I help you, sir?" And he goes, "Yeah, I want to open a fucking bank account." She goes, "What did you say?" He said, "I want to open a fucking bank account." She goes, "You better watch your language or I'll bring the bank manager over." He goes, "Bring the bank manager over. I want to open a fucking bank account." So she brings the bank manager over. He gets right in the man's face and goes, "So, what seems to be the trouble here, sir?" And she goes, "The trouble is, I want to open a fucking bank account for $800,000. And the bank manager goes, "Oh, and it's this cunt giving you a hard time." Two missionaries are caught by a primitive tribe in the jungle. The chieftain of the tribe says to the two missionaries, "You have trespassed on our land. You have a choice, death or ugu." And the first missionary goes, "I choose ugu." Then they say, "Okay, he's chosen ugu." So they rip his clothes off and they start fucking him and pissing on him and coming all over him and then fucking him again. And no, it gets better. Please, I haven't gotten to the dirty part yet. So they start fucking him and pissing on him. And it's a tribe. So, and then they take a coffee break and they come back and they're pissing on him and shitting on him and fucking him. And then after they're through, they turn to the other missionary and say, "And what do you choose, death or ugu?" And the other missionary says, "I choose death." And the chieftain says, "Then death it is, but first ugu." Now finally a clean one. An old Jewish woman sitting on the beach. Her grandson wanders off into the ocean and the waves start taking him away. And then she looks up, she sees he's drowning. She starts yelling, my grandson's drowning, someone help him, please." And so one man gets up, he rips his clothes off, jumps into the water, swims out. The waves are knocking him against the rocks, and he keeps going against the current, and then a shark starts coming at them, and he punches off the shark, and he holds the kid in one hand, and he's fighting the shark with the other, and the shark's biting him. Finally fights him off, and then he's holding the son, the grandson. He swims back and puts the little boy on shore, and the little boy's not breathing, so he starts pumping on his chest and giving him mouth to mouth and pumping on his chest, and then the little boy spits up water and he's fine. And the grandmother says, he had a hat. An old Jewish couple goes to a doctor. The doctor, and they say, we're at the doctor because my husband's not able to have an erection, and we can't have any kind of relations. And the doctor says, well, I could perform an operation, but and it'll make you perfect, but it'll cost $500. And so the Jewish couple says, well, can we think about it overnight? And he goes, fine. They go home, they come back the next day. The doctor says to the Jewish couple, you're going to have the operation? And they said, well, we talked it over. We're going to have the kitchen painted. An old Jewish man is on his deathbed. He calls over his grandson. He goes, grandson, before I die, I'd like to have a nice piece of rugula. That's all I want, to have a delicious piece of rugula before I die. And the grandson says, sure, Grandpa, and he runs downstairs. And then he comes back 10 minutes later, and he's got nothing. And the dying old Jewish grandfather says, where's my rugula? And the grandson says, Mom says she's saving it for the shiva. All right. Where's this Pivnik?
Larissa?
Yes.
Larissa or Steven? Take the leather chair. The leather.
First time I met him, he obviously didn't get where he is because of his looks. Okay, I'm here to roast Steve Pivnik. And what kind of a name is Pivnik? It sounds like a disease you get after fucking a Russian